Today, we have a president that works tirelessly to dehumanize immigrants by referring to them as thugs, by claiming that they want to, quote, infest our country, by separating families and putting children in cages, by warning of invading caravans, and by pursuing half-baked immigration policies that do nothing to make us safer and only serve to whip up support for the president's nationalist agenda. The result is that the federal government has cultivated a culture of fear, a fear that drives some of our most vulnerable residents deeper into the shadows. These residents fear now that a traffic stop will land them in a detention center, and so they avoid the day-to-day tasks that you and I take for granted. They fear that a call to the police will end in their deportation, so they don't say anything when they're the victims of violence or fraud. They fear that an ICE officer will be waiting for them outside of a courthouse, so they refuse to testify at trial. Crimes go unreported, criminals remain on the street, and justice goes unserved. Now, part of the problem is that some of our most vulnerable residents don't understand the difference between an ICE officer and a local police officer. They simply fear anyone with a badge. And that makes it harder for law enforcement across our state to protect all of our communities. And that affects everyone's public safety. So at the New Jersey Attorney General's office, we did something about this. Just last month, we issued a new Law Enforcement Directive to draw a clear and bright line between New Jersey's law enforcement officers on the one hand and federal civil immigration authorities on the other. This directive applies to all 36,000 law enforcement officers in New Jersey, everyone from state troopers to local beat cops to correctional officers. And our approach is simple. We're limiting the voluntary assistance that New Jersey's law enforcement officers provide to federal civil immigration authorities. And in doing so, we're telling our state law enforcement agencies to focus their resources on their core priorities, such as solving crimes and protecting the public, rather than advancing Washington's immigration agenda. We want to create an environment where all of our residents feel safe around law enforcement officers. Because here in New Jersey, you can be pro-immigrant and you can be pro-law enforcement at the same time.